On February 2, 1998, 38-year-old convicted murderer Karla Faye Tucker was removed from her 60-square-foot cell at the Mountain View unit in Gatesville, Texas. Moments later, she was placed on a Texas Department of Criminal Justice aircraft and transported 160 miles to the oldest prison in Texas, the Huntsville unit in Huntsville, Texas, opened in 1849, and is home of the state's execution chamber. Hundreds of people had met their end at the facility, and Karla was about to be next. She was scheduled to die by lethal injection the next day for a horrific crime she participated in years earlier. By the time she was 23 years old in early 1983, Karla Faye Tucker was a 7th-grade dropout and drug addict who had been involved in prostitution since she was a teen. When Tucker learned that her friend Sean Dean had been hurt by her estranged husband, Jerry Lynn Dean, in June 1983, she was pissed. Tucker had conflict with Dean previously because he parked his motorcycle in her living room, and in one instance, she socked him in the face and sent him to the hospital. Tucker, her boyfriend, 35-year-old Danny Garrett, and their friend, Jerry Liebrent, started plotting a way to get back at Dean. They decided to steal his motorcycle. On June 13, 1983, at around 3 a.m., the trio entered Dean's apartment in Houston, Texas, using a key they stole from Sean. Once in the residence, Tucker sat on Dean, and he awoke trying to defend himself. Garrett beat him with a hammer that he found nearby. Tucker then stabbed Dean multiple times with a pickaxe that she found in the room. Moments later, Tucker noticed Deborah Ruth Thornton, a married woman Dean met at a party and brought home with him. She was hiding under some covers in the corner. Tucker turned the pickaxe on her, and after numerous violent blows, she left the pickaxe in her chest. The three got away with some motorcycle parts, Dean's El Camino and his motorcycle. They spent the next few weeks bragging about the murders. When Garrett's brother recorded them talking about the crime, Tucker admitted to being sexually aroused every time she swung the pickaxe, stating, "Doug, I come with every stroke." They were arrested 5 weeks later. Tucker testified against Garrett at his trial. He was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death. He died of liver disease in 1993. Tucker showed up at her trial, portraying herself as a changed person. She reportedly picked up a Bible while in the county jail and read it in her cell. She later said, "I didn't know what I was reading. Before I knew it, I was in the middle of my cell floor on my knees. I was just asking God to forgive me." She became a Christian 3 months after the murder, but that didn't help her at trial. She was convicted of Dean's murder and sentenced to death. On February 2, 1998, the night before her execution, Tucker spent her time in a 12-foot by 20-foot holding cell. She barely slept. She was hoping a last-moment miracle would save her life the next day, but she knew the odds were slim. She had challenged her conviction and sentencing on numerous occasions since 1984. She blamed drugs, said she was denied a fair trial, blamed ineffective counsel, and said the jury was improperly instructed, but nothing worked. She woke up at 6 a.m. on February 3rd. She refused a typical breakfast, but snacked on some crackers and drank a soft drink. Between 8 and 12 that morning, she visited with her father and sister. She also visited with her husband, Dana Brown, the prison preacher, who helped her convert to Christianity. The two married by proxy in 1995. Those last moments with her family would occur with a screen between them. Tucker was brought to tears in those final moments. After noon, she was driven to the place known as the Death House and placed in a cell 30 feet away from the execution chamber. Soon, she received devastating news when the U.S. Supreme Court and Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans rejected her lawyer's legal Hail Mary. She met with a spiritual advisor and afterward was given a last meal of a banana, peaches, and a tossed salad with ranch dressing, but she didn't eat much of it. They offered her a sedative, but she wasn't interested. Before 6 p.m., she took a shower and put on a fresh white prison uniform and white shoes. With her hair still wet from her shower, she was taken from her cell at 6:05 p.m. and walked 30 feet to the 9-foot by 12-foot execution chamber. She got onto the gurney and was strapped in. Moments later, they placed catheters in each arm. At that moment, Governor George W. Bush was her only hope to live another day. For years, Tucker made several television appearances to discuss her religious transformation. She stated, "There should always be a place for mercy," and declared herself a new person. Many people agreed. One attorney who prosecuted her ex-boyfriend Garrett stated, "The Carla Tucker who killed Jerry Dean and Deborah Thornton cannot be executed because that person no longer exists." Bush wasn't persuaded by her transformation from a drug-addicted prostitute to religious zealot, and at 6:12 p.m., he announced he would not grant her a 30-day stay of execution, and the execution would move forward. 5 people she selected were present to watch her die: her sister, Carrie Weeks, her husband, Dana Brown, her friend, Jackie Onken, and her attorney, George Sechrist. Ronald Carlson, the brother of Tucker's victim, Deborah Thornton, was also there to support her. He believed in her transformation, and he was against the death penalty. Thornton's husband, Richard, and her son and stepdaughter were in attendance in a separate room. No one was there to represent Jerry Lynn Dean. At the same time, 200 reporters and 1,200 people were outside. Before starting the execution, Tucker was asked if she wanted to make a final statement. She said, "Yes, sir. I would like to say to all of you, the Thornton family and Jerry Dean's family, that I am so sorry. I hope God will give you peace with this." Then she looked at her husband and said, "Baby, I love you." After that, she looked at Ronald Carlson and said, "Ron, give Peggy a hug for me." Next, she spoke to her supporters saying, "Everybody has been so good to me. I love all of you very much. I am going to be face-to-face with Jesus now. Warden Baggett, thank all of you so much. You have been so good to me. I love all of you very much. I will see you all when you get there. I will wait for you." Richard Thornton spoke to his dead wife as he watched, saying, "Here she comes, baby doll. She's all yours. The world's a better place." At 6:37 p.m., the muscle-relaxant pancuronium bromide was administered. Lung-paralyzing chemical sodium thiopental was administered next, and potassium chloride, the chemical that stops the heart, was pumped in last. Tucker praised Jesus and hummed as she stared at the ceiling. Moments later, she coughed and groaned. Tucker was pronounced dead at 6:45 p.m. The 38-year-old died with a smile on her face. She was the first person executed in Texas in 1998 and the first woman executed in Texas since Chipita Rodriguez in 1863.